Welcome to Redvee TV Instant Fan Reaction, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, following St Helens' 48-8 demolition of the Salford Red Devils here this evening. Dominant.
As standard as win as they come, I think. Bit surprised by Salford there. They've got a couple of older heads. Thought they'd have been a little bit better first round up. No, Saints did last season finish because we've just literally stepped on the gas from round one.
For me, I think that's a little bit unfair on Salford. I thought Salford were all right. I just think I've never seen line speed like that from Saints. If that was one of the things that Christian Wolf has talked about, that the little things we can improve on, absolutely unbelievable. We were an absolute machine.
I thought they ran out of ideas, Salford. I genuinely thought they ran out of ideas. It just looked like once you're right with the line speed. It looked like they had no plan B. They'd come with, this is how we're going to play, and then nothing after it, and it was as standard as they come for a victory. I was expecting a bit of a slog. I think I predicted us to win by 12, and you know what? We were miles ahead of where I thought we'd be after one hit out.
You look at that team that we've put out tonight. No Kyle Amor, no James Roby, no Tommy Makinson, and no Morgan Knowles. Could you pick 4 bodies that you would leave out to put them back in?
Probably not. I mean, people will turn around and pick the usual names. I'm not gonna do that here after round one.
But if players have took their opportunity and put themselves in the shop window, it's an absolutely unbelievable performance.
I think the best one for there is Lachlan Coote going off and Jack Wellesby. Would you rest Lachlan Coote next week if he needs that rest, rather than trying to push him through round 2? Of course you would.
For me, there's, as you say there, there's nobody I would have any fear of putting into that 17. No. I named Jack Wellesby as my man of the match this evening. I thought he's come on leaps and bounds from last season, just with that having that full pre-season behind him with the squad once again. He looked like a first team player.
He did. My man of the match would have been Johnny Lomax. I thought his hands were just superb. For round one again, he just looked like he was on it. When you talk about men of steel, and you talk about people being consistent week after week after week, Johnny Lomax is that man. Jack Wellesby, as you say, that pass out to Nagama, yet it was made by Lomax. If you watch it back, Lomax's pass out to him, but the fact that he's just slotted into fullback and thrown it out to Nagama, it was superb. You've also got the fact that I've likened him to Mr. Tickle. He looks like he's nowhere near the ball, and then he starts running. He sticks his arms out. It sticks like glue. It's almost like he puts his arms out. He's there, and he just looks so assured. I mean, how old is he now?
Sorry, Kev, but in the space of one episode of Redvee, you've gone from quoting the Pope to Mr. Tickle and the Mr. Men books.
Oh, sorry.
Somebody's going to be telling you off for quoting Mr. Tickle.
I'm talking about Mr. Tickle. I should only talk about Saints and Rugby League, shouldn't
I? Do you know what? We're going to have to go through a 1 to 17 this week of which Saints players, which are they in the Mr. Men books. James Bentley got the start ahead of Aaron Smith. They pretty much did it in tandem once again, like they did. Yeah. It's like hooker by committee. It's James Roby, Kieran Cunningham, 15 years down the line.
Well, you know what it is. Bentley did great, and Bentley had to fit into the second role. And that's the good thing about our squad. We've gone from losing Lachlan Coote, and it didn't look like anybody was missing. And Aaron Smith's come on, and Aaron Smith put a couple of good passes in as well. And you think, right, and he also, one of my criticisms of Aaron Smith was the fact that he wasn't running enough from dummy half, and you saw a little bit more of that tonight, and that's what I want to see from him, and that's what I like to see. And all of a sudden you're thinking, yeah, he gets it. Again, have you got an issue with next week going with Bentley and Smith, one of them starting, one of them on the bench? Of course you haven't.
For me, anybody this season now with the slightest of knocks, you leave out and you just put the next man in, because you've got that luxury, and that's potentially the best opening night performance I've seen.
Oh, for years.
Saints for years. Remember when we were here a couple of years ago? I think one of the very early Redvee TVs. I think we beat Leeds. Was it 8-2 when we were like that was great, wasn't it? But that was like, do you know what? And I say this as a blue.
Well, I'm a claret.
So I imagine that's what Liverpool fans feel when they watch their team every week.
Were you just enjoying it?
Yeah, you know. I think there's that mystique around the club now and the players that they expect to win, the fans expect to win, and we go out and we match that on the field with the performances.
And that's it. You can even pick out little bits like Matty Lee's hitting 9 levels completely fairly, but he's timed that to perfection. And that for round 1, not giving away the penalty. We give away the penalty 4 tackles later for lying on.
And don't forget, Salford I think they have 3 hit outs in pre-season. Yeah, we've had a testimonial.
That's what I said earlier. We've had 1 hit out and we've looked that good. You don't want to get ahead of yourself.
No.
We sit top of the league now.
Yeah, obviously points difference, and you don't see that changing this weekend.
But it could do, and you don't want to get ahead of yourselves by saying, yeah, we'll sit here for the next God knows how many weeks, because we might beat Warrington by 2 next week, and end up dropping down to 2nd, 3rd, whatever. We might lose 1 or 2 before the World Club Challenge. Who knows? But as you say, for a first night, for us coming out and putting a performance in and laying a marker down, that's nigh on perfect for a first night performance.
And I think for me that matches what we said on our preview. For me, Saints over the course of the season will be consistent enough to finish top of the table. The only challenge, well, for me, the challenge we will have is one-off games. Like we did at Wembley last season. Listen, one-off games last season when it mattered, we were 50-50, weren't we?
The thing with one-off games is you'll imagine a lot of clubs will treat us as a one-off game. Will treat us as a cup final. Your clubs who might not expect to get points against us, but the likes of, we're going to be the likes of your Wigan's Cup final, aren't we? Where you build up for that and you want to knock us off our perch, as the famous quote goes. That's how it is. And we've just got to take the experience we got from the Grand Final and the Challenge Cup. And I think, as I've said before, the Challenge Cup is the biggest lesson we've learnt. And
I think
kind
we've got stronger for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think to a man tonight, it's all right. It'll catch me in the middle. Not a loud voice. To a man tonight, I can't fault any of them. Joseph Paolo obviously missed the back end of last season. He's come back in tonight and fitted straight back in. He came on for I think it was his first spell, and his first pass nearly put a man short ball through the gap. He's still got great hands, and you've got that vital experience in the squad. And listen, it's a squad game, isn't it? But I'm ecstatic tonight. I really am. I think that's the best performance I've seen in an awful long time, and I think there's still a lot more to come for us.
It's definitely the best from round 1. Going to Joe Paolo, you think of him as he got a defined role? Because he was brought in as someone who was going to be a ball player who could also do it tough. Now, it's going to be difficult for someone turning around and going, that this is what I'm doing today. I'm doing a mix of both. I'm doing one, I'm doing the other. And you're changing and switching all the time. If he gets a defined role, listen, you're going to be on the bench. You're going to come on as lock. You're going to come on as second row. What I want you doing is this. All of a sudden, his game improves. For me, he literally gets a, this is what you're doing. And rather than him being a little bit unsettled, it's no criticism of Justin Holbrook at all, but it is the, right, this is what I expect of you. We've spoken to players between the two of us. I know a lad who's spoken to one of the young lads, and Christian Wolff is the type of person who will speak to you one-on-one and will turn around and say, this is what I expect, and is open and approachable. There's no reason why Joseph Paolo can't be in the first 17 every single week of this season.
So, we move on from round 1. Hopefully we will finish top of the table over the weekend. Warrington next week. Another big challenge early on, which we will discuss on the preview show this week.
Yep, I'm disappointed that Chris Hill misses out as a penalty machine. No, listen, he will be.
At least the heads might be all right next week.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Listen, they're going to be wounded from getting beat by Wigan.
I think was it Carl Fitzpatrick? Carl Kirkpatrick, he's not still reffing, is he?
I went to school with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Carl Fitzpatrick, I thought he was going to beat Wigan every game this season. None for one so far, but champions versus champions next week, according to them.
Listen, they were hurting. They'll be hurting, after that performance, and they were. You could argue if they'd have stayed 13 on 13, they'd have won that game.
Won it, yeah.
Are they going to be our closest challengers? Possibly. Unless they have the fall off the cliff at the end of August again.
I was going to be pinching up again.
It'll be a tough one because they'll want to win. They'll want to put a performance in. If we turn up a week better than that, listen, we're gonna be 2 from 2,
and we're going to frighten people. Yeah. Okay, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep a look on the website. Vote for your man of the match from this evening's game. And if you haven't listened to the Redvee podcast yet, it's on the website or on Spotify or on Anchor. You can have me and Kev in your car for 80 minutes. Catch you soon.